Alright, so when you first open Marvellous Designer, you'll see this like weird split screen view. So on the left you've got the 3D view, and on the right you've got the 2D pattern window. So this will be where we're going to draw out the pattern and see it in 2D mode and edit it and like sew it all and whatnot on that side. So the first thing we need is an avatar. So you can of course bring your own one in from ZBrush or anything like that, and that's what you'd usually do in the workflow. For this example, just to save time, over here on the left you've got the library tab. So it was just kind of hiding here. If you click on that, it'll open out these default kind of assets that you can have play with. In the avatar one, if you double click, you can open up these folders. We're just going to go for a male. So I think this is the one that is already there. So if you double click on it, he should pop up. There you go. So to get rid of this, just go up here to this little arrow and that'll pop away. Now to navigate in Marvellous Designer, it's pretty simple. The scroll wheel will zoom in, although it is, at least on my mouse, like backwards to what I keep thinking it is. So if I want to zoom in, I'm going out. Anywho, the left click does absolutely nothing. So if you click on the middle mouse and drag, then that pans, and then the right click and drag will rotate, will orbit around it. Okay, right, so pattern wise, now you can import a texture onto a plane essentially and trace around it that way, and that is recommended for when you're just learning at the start, but that's a little bit fiddly, and I might do an extra video just to kind of show how to do that quickly. But for this one we are just doing a t-shirt, which is one of the more basic patterns. So and you know, the more you practice, the more you do them, basic patterns will become kind of second nature, I guess, when you start to learn how sleeves and that kind of work. Okay, so to start, we're going to go up here to the kind of draw polygon tools, head to the polygon one. Now it kind of snaps to the symmetry line of your avatar. So now the thing with this, you don't want to worry about curves initially, so we're just going to go up there to the neck, do a little bit for the kind of the top of the shoulder, down to the armpit. Now there will be a curve here and for the neck of course, but we're just going to ignore it now. It's just going to come down here, kind of keep that, so it does kind of try and snap to the angles, you'll see. Now when you close it back up, it should become a lovely bit of fabric. Now you can see that it's popped up in the 3D view. It's not looking like much yet, but hold your horses, it will do. Now if we go back here, first of all with the fabric, if you come over here to this right side menu, so you can see if you click on the fabric, it's got all the properties in it. So you know, you can make it a bit more see-through if you fancy. I'm just going to keep it full. You can muck about with importing textures and things by going on to these kind of things, but I'm not going to bother with that. I might make it a swanky different colour actually. Let's see, let's go, that's a bit bright. Sure, you know what? No, I'll just go for a little grey, because I'll get too far down that rabbit hole. Right, so to edit the curves that we need, head up to this one. So this is kind of the edit pattern thing. So if you edit pattern, you can like grab the points, the sides, all that bit, you know, you can move these about if you fancy. We are going to go to edit curvature. Now this kind of uses the computer's AI to kind of figure out where it's going. You're not adding like points for this one, so we just want a bit of a curve for the neck. And we want a bit of a curve for the sleeve. Now it's a bit of a funny curve, this one. You don't want it to be too deep. I might actually bring up the armpit slightly, that's quite deep. So yeah, you kind of want it a little bit like that. If you kind of imagine like a teardrop, a half of a teardrop, and this kind of bit needs to be kind of perpendicular to this bit almost. But yeah, there we go. You could also, actually I'll bring that out a little bit. You could introduce a little bit of a curve there if you wanted. The nice thing about this is obviously it works under simulation, so you can edit the length and all that stuff later, and sort any pinching or whatever later on. Now for this we are going to go to back to edit pattern and hit the middle line, and if we right click on it we can unfold. Now I'm going to do unfold with symmetric editing to keep the symmetry. Just, you know, if I move that then it'll do it on both sides sort of thing. You know, common sense stuff. Now this little bad boy is a little bit pointy, so I'm going to convert to curve, and if we actually go up here and go edit curve point, then we'll see all the little curves that are introduced there. Now we need that one because it's the middle one, but actually that doesn't look too bad. Right, we'll keep that. Now, so yes, we have the pattern now. Now we obviously just have the front here. To get the back, we're just going to go and select the whole thing. Right click. We are going to symmetric pattern with sewing. So if we do that and pop them over here, it will pop up on this side. Now it is currently facing us, so we have to, ooh, there we go, come on, there we go, spin it around, and just pop it slightly in position. Now it is quite cool. Obviously you can manually position it. It doesn't have to be perfect because it'll kind of snap when we add the sewing and when we simulate it anyway. But a nice thing to do is, so up here, this is kind of the options for what you see in the 3D viewport, similar to this stuff over here. You can, in that way, you know, you can just look at the mesh, or you can just have a solid color. You can change this over in the property editor, I believe, or you can just, you know, keep it that. Now what I'm going to show you is, if you go to this one, the avatar display, and you hit on show arrangement points, you'll see loads of blue dots appear. Now this is cool because if you hover over them, you know, and if you clicked on one, it kind of moves your stuff there. So I'm going to move there, so that it's that, and then we are going to move on to the back one. I do not know why I snapped there, but I'm going to pop that there. Now, I do not, but if you did have any, like, you know, if it was like that, you don't really want any penetration. So if that does happen, just move him out here. Now, I do not like that curve on the neck so much, so I might right click on this, and I'm going to remove the linked editing. So that means I can now edit this one, and it's no longer linked to the original one. So for that, I'm going to go into the curve point, and I'm actually going to delete, oh shit, I mean, oh dear. Sorry, yes, you have to click on the individual point and then delete that. You can hold Control and, oh no you can't, is it Shift? Yes, Shift. So if you hold Shift and click, then you can grab more than one. I'm just gonna, I could probably just group select these actually. I have no idea where the next one there. Oh well. Anywho, right, there we go. So that's gone back to that, and I might just introduce a slight curve to kind of go around the back of the neck. Alright? Good, good. Okay, now, another really useful thing that will come in handy in just a wee minute. If you Shift and Z, it will show you the lengths of all these kind of bits here. Now, that will come in handy, as I say, in a minute, when we start to do the sleeves, because you'll need to do some maths, very basic maths, do not worry, to figure out the kind of arch for the top of the sleeve. Right, now we do need to start on the sewing. So sewing you can do in either this view or this view. I do prefer it in the 3D view because it's a bit more obvious to me. You can also get rid of these dots again by clicking there. Right, now the sewing, it's the same on both sides. You'll see the little sewing machine icon up here and up here. Now for this, we're going to do segment sewing. So that lets you kind of pick the whole section at a time. Now we're going to grab this one and we are going to attach over here. Okay, now if you pay attention to the 2D screen, you'll see that it does match completely. If I do it down there, you'll see it crosses over. Now I'm going to do it correctly for this one just to show you. So that is the stitching working perfectly, okay? Now, for this one, I'm going to intentionally do it wrong just to show you what could happen. So you can see it's crossing over in the 2D view as well. So if you click on that, it's crossed over. If I simulated this now, it would just mess up completely. So to do this, you need to go onto the little sewing machine again and go to Edit Sewing. And then if you right click on one of the seams, you can reverse the sewing. So that'll kind of sort it out there. So go back onto segment sewing and we'll just finish doing these bits. So we're just going to do these 4 sections just now. So there we are. So that is it all done up. Now for the magic to happen. So if we go up here and hit this big old arrow, then it'll just simulate. And there we go, beautiful. So this is looking a bit tight. Oh, it's very form-fitting, beautiful. Now you can edit this by changing these kind of lengths. So you can essentially just like let the material out. So if we go into edit pattern and get on this side, so you can use the arrow keys. It's easier than just kind of dragging. But if you do drag, you can pay attention to the lengths on this side, so that they're kind of equal. I'm just going to go back and do the arrows. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3 that way, and do the same on the other side. So that will let out a little bit more material, and hopefully this should kind of, yeah, so it's a little bit more loose, you see. It's not quite sticking to them so much. Now the cool thing to do in simulation mode, you can kind of grab it and kind of smoosh it around a little bit. And introduce some, you know, nice little creases and folds. Yeah, it's very nice. Now, there is a little thing. So if you click on that and go back to the fabric up here and click on it, if you head down to the properties and scroll to the physical properties, you can have a good look at all of these options. So there is presets, there's a bunch of presets here, different types of fabrics, and each one will have different types of properties that you can simulate, you know, to look like how it would in real life. I'm just going to go for, let's go for stretch cotton, so that should hopefully update a little bit. So yeah, it kind of jumps around a bit. It's not too dissimilar to what there was originally. But yeah, so you can have a bit of a squinkle around. Another thing to note, you will see that this kind of looks a bit, I mean, it doesn't look that great just now. That is because there's not too many polys just now. If we go on to, which one is it? So this one here, the textured surface, if we click on that and hit mesh, so we can now see the tries that make up this mesh. Don't worry, you can quad it later. But yes, for now this is how it's made up. So you can change this if you go again into that fabric and go to the physical properties. If you where is it gone? Where is it, the pattern? 2-6. Where is this gone? There we go. Right. Yes. So sorry, to do that, you actually have to select the pattern itself. You can't be in like edit mode or anything. So you're just you could grab that up there, I guess. Just select the pattern and in property edit. So it's not the fabric's properties, it's the pattern's properties. Because obviously your pattern can have different fabrics in it. So If you go to this one, so down here you have particle distance. If you lower that, so I'm just going to go for 15, and I believe that's just calculating, so you can see that the triangle's got smaller, so now I have a bit more to play with when I'm mucking around with that. So, so if I get that again, and yeah, so you can see it's a little bit more detailed. Okay, so that is your basic so tank top. You could stop there if you wanted. I am going to go over how to do a sleeve very quickly. So this one will introduce a couple more techniques. So for this, I'm just going to push that over. We are going to draw this sort of shape. Now this is where these kind of lengths come into play, but I'll just get the kind of generic shape just now. So you want to snap that and that. Okay. So for this, we are going to, so essentially this will unfold to create that kind of shape. And we need to curve up here. So the curve along the top part of this will join up with this sleeve hole and this one over here, I believe. I'll have to double check when we sew it. But essentially it'll create like a tube that joins the two, the front and back parts together along the top here. And that should make far more sense in just a minute. So we do need to edit curvature, so we're going to create like a weird sort of, that's a bit hard. So I might actually introduce a curve point just about here and here. So there we go. Now the important thing here, this distance here needs to be the same as this one. So this is kind of going to, so this bit is going to join in with that. So this number needs to be there. So this is far too tall. So we can bring that down and we can edit this curve. So it's a bit of a fiddly science, this one, but it's part of the fun. Now I do find zooming in is much more accurate to move these about. Okay, so come on. There we go. Now, as I say, it doesn't have to be really accurate. If this doesn't match this entirely, then it does not matter too much. It's the way it sews uses a kind of computerized AI. So yeah, that looks about right. That's fine. Now for this one, we are going to go back up to edit pattern and we're going to hit the fold line. So in the same way that we created the front panel, we're going to right click on it and unfold with symmetric editing. So that creates this shape. Okay. Now we are going to start sewing the sleeve in. Now for this, we're going to use a different technique than last time. So I am actually going to use the 3D view again. I might hop back and forth because this one is a little bit fiddly just to get the kind of the sleeve part there. So for this, we are looking at the MN segment sewing. No, we're not. It is the free sewing. I totally forgot. So yes, MN free sewing. So for this, it essentially, so because it's not seam to seam directly, like we have to sew this bit to the back part of the sleeve first, and then we're sewing that whole bit to the top of the sleeve. Okay, so come here. Now there's a little green blob. If you click once and kind of follow up and around, and then you stop there, then you'll see over here as well, it is that section there. Okay, so that, I believe it's undone it for some reason. So if we go there, and then if we head over, so it's a bit fiddly, this one. So, oh dear, what's happened there? Right, I am going to undo that. And I'm actually going to do it on the 2D mode, I've decided. Because it does, I believe, highlight up there. There we go. Okay, so there we go, that's the front view. And I believe you have to kind of continue it around in that way. It's, you know, it's if you go up there, don't start at the bottom. I think it mucks up the sewing. But there we go. So that's that. Now once you've done the first complete bit, that is the M. So as you see on that kind of you know, prompt text, if you hit enter, that finishes that part, and then you have to do the end part. So that is this entire part of the sleeve. So you can see it's starting to figure out the sewing for it already. So I've done that, and I'll hit the enter, and that connects it. So I can't actually tell. I think that looks alright. Another thing I totally forgot to do, we probably should have done that first, but if you go back to segment sewing and just connect these two bits together. Okay, now hopefully this should work. Oh, there we go. Oh, it had a little bit of a hissy fit. Okay, I believe I know what's happened. So okay, I did that wrong. Let me just undo that. So what I did, by the way, if you right click on this and do reset 3D arrangement, then it pops up to there. So what I did wrong, I simulated it so it kind of, it's not wrapped around, if that makes sense. So that is why you have to kind of stick it onto the body. So I'm going to do it there. So you can see it's kind of wrapping around. So it shouldn't have too much of an issue this time around if I do it. There we go. So that's it properly. Good. That's actually a good learning experience. So as you can see, it's not bad. It's connecting nicely. The mass is worked out so we don't have any holes. So that's quite nice. And you can obviously move it around, get some wrinkles if you fancy. See how that sits up there. Now the sleeve is obviously far too long, so what you can do is come over here, edit pattern, grab the bottom bits, and just move it up slightly, and you can see it's updating already in here. It is worthwhile just resimming just to kind of get it to pop back properly. Now you might also think that this is a bit big, you might want a tighter sleeve. If that is the case, then just grab this point over here and bring it in slightly. Now you can hold shift to kind of snap to these angles. This might be a bit too far fitting, but you do see that it's kind of cut out this. And there we go. So that's not too bad. I will leave that. Yeah, that's cool. Perfect. Right. Lovely. So that is the sleeve. Now to really easily kind of copy it over, if you go back to the transform pattern, grab this, you can literally copy and paste and just head over here. Now it will update in here and it should pop over here. Now again, you can pop this way. I can't remember if this would work. Yes, so you can use the arrangement points again to get it in a rough position. Again, you don't want it penetrating very much. I'm going to turn these off. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to sim that just now. It's probably just going to drape down the arm a bit. There we go. So obviously it's not attached up there. So yes, again, it's just a case of doing the edit sewing, the MN free sewing again. So for this side, it is not coming up for some reason. Why is it not? 2 seconds. Oops, what happened there? I have no idea what I did. Right, so I think you might have to have it. Yes, so yeah, if you want to see it on this side, then I believe you have to have the same thing selected. So we'll keep that because it is quite nice to see. So there we go, we'll go up there, and where's the corresponding one? That way. So it's this one here. Cool, so after that, hit the enter, and then go back again and draw that one. And hit enter again. So there we go. Now you can see that is totally fine, there's no flipped, so if I hit sim then it should just pop back up there. So there we go. Lovely, lovely. Yeah. And there we go. So that is our basic t-shirt. Excellent.